This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. So let's talk about the J word. Yes, jazz. It's a divisive genre of music, isn't it? So much so that I didn't really want to put the word in the title of this video, hence the J word. There are some people who loathe and detest jazz. There are some people who would rather drink a cup of cold sick than endure 5 seconds worth of Miles Davis or John Coltrane. But there are those of us. I can only speak from my own experience here, and, other people I've spoken to have said kind of similar things. There are those of us who just found it so fascinating and enticing, and it was like, well, speaking personally, like when in the 80s when I was like learning to play, blues licks and rock solos and stuff like that, I was getting an understanding of how all of that sort of stuff slotted together and fitted and what made it all tick. And then there was this other thing, this jazz world, this whole thing that was full of exotic sounding chords and dark but enticing, exciting melodies. And there just seemed to be no bridge, nowhere to connect the knowledge that I had to that whole other realm. And that was, when I feel, that there's something just beyond the horizon like that, it makes me curious as to how you get there. And that's hopefully what I'm going to provide for you today. Basically, a little bit of an introduction into, not the most complex forms of jazz or form of jazz, just a little way into playing some kind of nice, cool sounding modal jazz. It's just a different way of thinking about putting the chords and the bass line and everything together. And, well, first of all, here's a solo, and then you're going to hear a bit of an explanation as to what's going on. More of a 360 view in terms of the bass line and the chords and the lead guitar part and how it all knits together. Here it is. Okay, let's begin this little explanation by looking for some common ground between what we just heard there and, what most blues and rock players would be comfortable with. I think it's fair to say most of us start from a standpoint of being familiar with this little shape, which if you play that at the 5th fret like I just did then, is A minor or C major pentatonic, but we're going to be thinking of it as A minor in this context. Now, I would bet that most blues and rock players are fairly comfortable with every now and again just sneaking a couple of extra notes into that pattern, like this. These two notes at the 7th fret on the top 2 strings. That kind of thing. So maybe then you'll go one stage further and think, well, where else can I sneak those notes in? And maybe you'll even identify what the notes are that you're playing, and that would look like this. Okay, and that is, well, as you can see, the notes of A, B, C, D, E, F sharp and G. Or put another way, that is the A Dorian mode. Now, what is an A Dorian mode? Well, it's nothing more than a G major scale. A G major scale is G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. But what we're doing is we are shifting the focus to the second note of the scale, which is A. Okay, but the G major scale, whichever note you focus on, is still a G major scale in terms of what chords it will give us. And that gives us essentially the key of G major. So the key of G major contains the chords of G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, and then an F sharp diminished. Back to G again. And that's the key of G major. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of those chords, but we're going to keep the whole kind of focus of the piece of music centered around the A minor chord. Now, the way we're going to do that is by just having a bass line that is centered around an A minor chord. All I'm going to do on the bass, I haven't got a bass to hand at the moment, but you'll see me playing one in a moment. All I'm doing on the bass is just playing an A minor pentatonic bass line. So that kind of thing, but on a bass, a bit like this. Then over the top of that A minor bass line, which is going to perform the task of keeping everything nicely centered around an A minor tonality, I'm going to use some of these chords here that you can see in the key of G major. I'm going to use some of these chords, notably the G chord, the C chord and the D chord, and play those over the top of the A minor pentatonic bass line. So I'm probably going to use just little triads on the middle three strings, so that you'll be familiar with that being a C chord, for instance. Okay, I'm just going to use that part of the C chord. It's still a C triad. Then move it up and it becomes a D. Then there's a G chord. Then there's a C and a D and a G again, like that. And maybe throw in a G down here and a D down here as well, and just kind of improvise essentially with those chord shapes, G's, C's and D's over the top of that A minor pentatonic bass line, and it'll sound like this. Then all you got to do to solo over the top of that is, well, just look at our scale that we looked at earlier. Remember that's just your A minor pentatonic with a couple of extra notes thrown in. That one and that one, that one and that one, B and F sharp basically, and then just go through every other pentatonic position, or the ones that you know, and find where those B and F sharp notes crop up. So for instance, if I know that the A minor pentatonic is basically the notes A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, etc., then as long as I know the starting point for the scale, like for instance position 2 starts here, that's a C note, so that's going to go C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A. So if I know where the G note is, for example, C, D, E, G, there, then I can quite easily identify where the F sharp is, there, and so on. So you can use the reference points that you already have, the notes in the scale. And if you don't know them, this is a great opportunity to start getting to know where things are on the neck, rather than, you know, staring at a wall chart that's got, you know, every note on every fret, on every string, everywhere on the neck, and hoping that somehow that'll help you remember it. Try making some use of it, just finding where some notes are on a little localized area of the neck and, kind of getting those notes working for you and making you sound good. It's a much more effective way of doing it. And hopefully you've seen that this little foray into the world of slightly jazzy sort of stuff isn't as scary as maybe you might have thought it was. Have some fun with it. And I should just mention there that the solo I played, it did that kind of A minor Dorian thing for 8 bars and then modulates up to C Dorian. So everything just shifts up 3 frets for another 4 bars and then back down to A minor for the final 4 bars. It just kind of did that little bit of a shift up and then back down again. I forgot to mention that in that clip. There is, of course, a full tab for the whole thing, the bass line, the chords and the lead guitar part. It's up on my Patreon page. There's the address right there, link in the description. That's just a special little thank you to all of my wonderful Patreon supporters for all of the support that you're giving me. Thank you guys. It is truly, truly appreciated. I'm more grateful, I can tell you. And that's pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you found this useful and informative and maybe even a little bit inspiring. And if you have, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not give me a like while you're at it? I'll just mention as well that there is a contest happening at the moment where you can win this fantastic Harley Benton British sound pedal. An entire history, almost, of Marshall amplifier sounds in one little box. The link to the contest is downstairs in this description, as are all of the links to all the ways that you can support the channel. You can enroll on courses, you can buy a fret zealot and get a little bit of money knocked off. Any number of ways that you can help me keep the lights on around here. Thank you so much if you're doing anything like that, and thank you in advance if you're thinking of doing it. And with that, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you for watching, thank you for your time, look after yourselves folks, stay well, stay safe and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.